Focus.
With Cassie McCullough.
Yes, Cassie McCullough with you. And so is Jason Gilbert. He is, well, probably a sports fanatic, I'm just guessing, but he's also a sports physio. G'day, Jason.
Good morning, Cassie. How are you?
What is your personal sport of choice? What have you excelled at?
Look, I love surfing. I work with the World Surfing League, and that's a bonus to be able to travel and surf. But on a day-to-day basis, I love high-intensity exercise. It gets my brain into gear. It makes me happy. So, everyone's got their favourite, and that's definitely my favourite. But look, movement in general makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, look, I envy you in many ways. Having this as a calling means, you're healthy and happy, and you're probably going to live a long life because of it. But tell us what your day job is. What do you do day to day?
So day to day, I graduated as a chiropractor many years ago, but working with sports people, that I guess led me to combine physio, osteo, acupuncture techniques. And it's all about function. So my day-to-day dealing with my clients is receiving a person in pain, but recognising that the pain has a cause and looking for that cause and helping them by empowering them via information and exercises and all the rest to actually focus on the cause and avoid that getting worse.
Okay.
As opposed to a system where we're trying to patch something up via some pain remedy. It's more focused on the person learning what's causing the pain, which happened a lot during lockdown.
Okay, I love this. I love this sort of preventative approach that you've got, which does seem to be, we do seem to be realising slowly that this is the key to good health. So tell us what people have been saying to you as they've been coming in.
Look, during this time, I'm in Lennox Head on the North Coast, so I've had a lot of people, especially last year, that were up here after the first lockdown. And I remember a couple of people that work from bed, for example. The most common situations were people working 1 minute from their offices and the next working from home. So they didn't really have the time or instruction necessary to learn how to, project their desks and the computers and laptops and heights and things like chairs. So with time, a lot of them were also juggling kids as well, and the kids also doing their schooling. So it's easy to understand why their spine and even their health didn't receive the priority it did. So our body's strong, and we can usually go weeks and months in a situation before it really lets us know that there's a problem. But a lot of these problems I was seeing were the ones that became really chronic. And I guess it was quite challenging for many people to connect the dots and connect that it was their position causing their neck pain, for example, a low computer or, texting and looking down quite a bit. Things like beds, people working from beds, maybe it was easier, but, beds obviously give no support. And all of this combined with the fact that they were living in confined spaces anyway, so that their function was greatly compromised as opposed to what it would be in normal life where they'd be walking to the bus or train or, getting out and about at lunchtime to walk around or even in the office. And that's independently of someone doing sport or exercise or not.
Yeah.
So, it was what I saw, to sum it up, a general compromise and decrease in function, which led to a lot of symptoms.
I wonder if you're listening and this is you, maybe you have realised that you've got some kind of ache or pain that's come from your change in practice around work and working from home habits. Fanny just realised maybe this is exactly the sort of thing you've just gone to see a physiotherapist about. Get on the line, 1300 222 702. Maybe, this is something that I guess more than, Jason's saying, it's more than just a few people, it's quite a lot who have been saying it to me. Maybe this is exactly you. It's funny that you mentioned, I was laughing when you were talking about working from bed because in my mind that sounds like a dream. But of course, it's it's not.
It sounds like that, doesn't it? There was one person I was treating, 3 months in bed, and the poor guy couldn't stand straight. And he didn't connect the dots on that one, but he literally worked to laying down. It's, I guess, what I often compare this to. Imagine if we had a dog, let's say, on a farm, and we brought the dog to the city, and the dog was in, a confined garden or a fenced-in area, you're not going to have a happy dog. And when we look at why, there's so many things that happen. There's hormonal side, there's an increase in cortisol, which is our stress hormone, but bodies need to move, whether it be an animal or a human. And when we're distracted, these signs aren't coming through as strong as what they would if we were in nature, if we were moving normally. So understandably, not only myself, but many other my colleagues and other professionals have noticed also that they've had a huge increase in the number of people suffering from pain derived from their modified activities.
Mm-hmm. Jason Gilbert is with us, and so is a beautiful bird. A prize to anyone on the text line who can identify that bird that Jason has. You don't know, do you, Jason? Oh, he's gone altogether. He's gone. We'll get him back. Let's talk to Dorothy, who's on the line. Good morning, Dorothy.
Oh, good morning, Cassie. How are you?
Good. Now, you're a physio as well.
I am. I have been forever.
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 And what are you seeing? Do you think Jason's on the money?
Yes, for sure. I wrote a book, the beginning of lockdown, about this, and I've called it 10 minutes of exercise a day to keep the doctor away. And it goes into what to do if you find you've got a sore neck or a sore back for sitting or computer work, whatever. And I'm looking for a publisher because it's so apt and so valid. And it's just knowing what to do for that particular area of stiffness and pain.
And yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you've been seeing people about this. What's the most common thing you've been seeing?
Oh, neck pain, definitely, because, and that started before lockdown, because people, if you look in the train or on the bus or anywhere, they're sitting with their neck in a flexed position. So I'm thinking...
I immediately straightened up then, Dorothy. I immediately straightened up my back and my neck then.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking that in 2 generations we're going to be born with an already flexed neck. So it's an evolution. It's true. It's true. And people walking in the street, they're looking down. So you're bound to get a stiff neck. And when you've got a stiff neck, that can go down to the shoulders. Everything's connected. So you've got stiff, sore shoulders, then you'll get a stiff thoracic area, and then it works its way down. It's just logic. I mean, if you know your anatomy, you know what's going to happen. And so, I've written this book and can't find a publisher.
Okay. Well, what's it called again? Just tell us the title.
Well, I've called it, publishers always change your title, 10 minutes of exercise to keep the doctor away.
10 minutes, that sounds like about my effort level. Dorothy, thank you very much for that. Jason Gilbert is with us, sports physiologist. Now, Jason, what about that? The neck, is that the key concern that you've seen?
Yes. Now, Dorothy and I are on exactly the same page. I always say that we should be born with a user's guide on how to use the spine. And for 5 years in my practice, I noted down every cause of my patient's pain. And what I came up with was a list that grew to a certain point, and then it stopped growing. And what I guess was predominant in that list were causes related to the neck, especially these days, because we've got a body that has evolved not that much over the last, let's say 10,000 years, but in a very short amount of time with technology. A lot of us have jumped into the use of laptops and tablets and iPhone, smartphones. And this, as Dorothy mentioned, when we're looking down, if we've got an MRI, it's actually quite shocking to see how much that actually stretches the brainstem. So if we recognize that our body's intelligent, our body's giving us those signals via pain and headaches and sometimes dizziness and tingling down the arms, well, we'd obviously stop and go, hang on, join the dots on that one. Why is that happening? And unfortunately, this technology doesn't come with a user's guide on how to use it. What shocks me is I pass kids at the bus stop in the morning, and back in the day, we would have all been playing and joking and laughing. The kids aren't socializing as much, and they've got their heads down in their phones. Now, the head weighs 5 kilograms in an adult. And
5 kilos?
5 kilos. And this is really easy to understand, that when the ear is directly above the shoulder, there's a minimum of load that's being distributed in a way that it shouldn't. But for every 1 centimetre that the head goes forward, as 5 kilos of load on the neck. So can you imagine, like a young kid, or kids' heads are heavy as well, but any head that's far or forward of that centre of gravity line is going to put pressure on the neck. And what we're seeing, I remember this study from last year. They took x-rays of kids between 10 and 15, x-rays of their skull and their upper cervical spine, their neck, and they've got little calcifications, which they refer to as horns growing, where those muscles that attach to the cranium, the skull there, are actually being pulled the whole time. So the brain's depositing calcium to support that.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, that's
Jason,
sorry.
What do we do? I don't want that to happen.
Look, I think what it comes back to is education. Dorothy's written her book. That's what I've talked about my whole professional career of 30 years. We've got to be taught how to use this amazing machine that we have, our body. It's like being born wealthy and not being taught how to build on that wealth. Okay, we're born with wealth, we're born with health, most of us. But with time, if we're just spending, well, where are we going to end up? As opposed to learning how to use it, maintain it, and even become healthier with time. So we do need to learn how to use our spines and our whole body in general.
You wouldn't believe I'm standing like a perfect ballerina right now. Now that you've
when you talk about this, people always correct their posture, or they start rubbing their neck or shoulders.
So true, isn't it? Hey, look, Jane's on the line. Jane, what happened to you?
Oh, hi. Look, I was so excited about getting out of lockdown. I went for a long bike ride with the club on Sunday, 60 Ks, great, no problems, it was all flat. Then I went bushwalking yesterday and my knee seized up. So I'm off to physio this afternoon, and I've never had knee problems.
I see. You're the classic. You're the classic example. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's no good. But you do illustrate the issue perfectly. Thank you for that, Jane, and good luck at the physio this arvo. Oh, yeah, dodgy knee, hey? That's never fun. All right, well, there you go. It does seem to be proof. Look, Duncan's just got a really quick question for you. Let's find out what it is. Good morning, Duncan.
Good morning. Yes, look, you've been describing my life.
Really? You've been working from bed?
Well, no, I still work at work, but I work with computers. I come home. I work on, I look at Netflix on my laptop. I sit in a chair.
You're the modern man.
In bed, and I've got the. Yeah. So what do we do?
Yeah. What do we do?
I'm not going to throw my laptop out, and I'm not going to stop watching Netflix. Just interested in what Jason, What has he got any suggestions?
Yeah, how do you combat it when that's how life has to be right now?
Great question there, Duncan. Now look, let's go back to basics. The spine, if you look at it, an X-ray or a model, it's a machine. Machines need to move. You leave a bike in the shed, it's going to rust if you don't use it. So you need to move, okay? And I'm not saying anything about what you're doing that's wrong. Let's just look at what you can introduce. Okay, so movement, whether it be walking, whether it be any sort of exercise, whatever you love. I wouldn't tell someone who doesn't like to swim to get into a pool and swim. Okay, there's benefit in everything as long as we're moving. The second one is never ignore pain. So use the pain to try and identify why something's hurting and look at ways that you can use that to modify your posture. Now, that easy rule, that center of gravity line should go through your ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle. If you can do whatever you're doing at work or anywhere else and maintain that as close to that normal center of gravity line as possible, we can guarantee that you're minimizing those loads. But when we've got a laptop and it's not set up adequately and there's no mouse or keyboard or whatever, well, that head can tend to go forward. Okay, it could be the low back as well. If you're sitting for too long, that's already bad. Get up every 10 minutes, walk around. Okay, or simply get a chair, pay a little bit more for a good chair that supports the spine in a way that's not going to overload those joints. Because what I sadly see, and I have seen for 30 years almost, is people that have worked their whole lives and they've worked really hard, I guess they've set themselves up to retire and take advantage of all the beautiful things that will bring, unfortunately compromised by pain. And that can be a gamble. That can be a lottery. Is it going to be a pain that can be easily fixed? Or will it be pain and other symptoms due to some irreversible problem that sadly was caused through avoidable, okay, I will say avoidable because all these things are avoidable actions and postures at work.
You should see me right now, Jason. I'm looking like...
You're super straight, right?
Yeah, I'm looking like the school captain in front of the school assembly, you know, beacon of upright...
Congratulations.
Yeah. Look, thank you for that, Duncan. I mean, you really cut to the point there. Hey, look, you know what? Apparently your bird, Jason, is probably a peewee. A couple of people saying the bird you can hear in the background is a beautiful black and white peewee. That's from Ian in Miranda.
Wow.
Also
okay,
known...
I'll tell them that the other day we had dozens and dozens of black cockatoos. That was beautiful.
Oh,
Like I'd never seen that many. It was so good to see.
God, living the life in Lennox Head. Hey, look, thank you for that. It's a great wake-up call, and, you know, I think half of Sydney's sitting up a little bit straighter because of talking to you, Jason Gilbert, so thank you very much for that.
And Cass, what I'd say also to anyone who is interested, as I said, I documented all of this over 5 years of my whole career. And
10 seconds.
As Dorothy said, it's
2 seconds. We're heading to the news. So
okay.
Yeah.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, I thought he was going to give us a recommendation. All right. Well, that's Jason Gilbert. Surely you can look up his name and see what his work involves. Conversations is next. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, Jamelle Wells with ABC News. Non-urgent elective surgery